What's going on, YouTube? This is Paco. Rest in peace, Dr. Sebi. Still can't believe he's gone, but we got to definitely try and keep his message alive. So one thing that I want to talk on that I've been looking into a lot more, especially since his passing, is the water that we drink. This is very important. Dr. Sebi's own words is pretty much the most important thing at his village when he was healing people. So let's jump right into it. Now, one thing that I noticed when I see a lot of people talking about the water we should drink is they talk about the pH, and this is what Dr. Sebi talks about as well. But the problem is that people are being fooled by these water bottle companies when we're talking about the pH. When water has a high pH, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's good for you, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's natural. You can alter the pH of your water. Ask anyone who grows marijuana, that grows it doing hydro. They'll tell you that they can raise the pH and they can lower the pH. And one thing that I realized when I was using that Kangen machine, and some of you using these ionized machines, water ionizers and stuff like that, is that they use a chemical agent to alter the pH, and this is not natural. So when you drink that water and it's high pH, it's not really natural, it's not naturally occurring, therefore it isn't good for you. So I recommend that we stay away from these water machines and these water filters, or at least don't use it as a way to replace real alkaline water. So I did a little bit of research, and basically what I found is that the best waters that we're going to be able to drink are going to be what we call, and what Dr. Sebi calls, geothermal waters. And this is water that comes out of the ground on a boiling hot, about 200 degrees, 210 degrees out of the ground. And this water is full of tons of minerals, more than any other type of water you're going to find out there. Now, unfortunately, a lot of us can't go in our backyard. We don't have a village like Dr. Sebi, and we're not going to find those waters just out, anywhere. So what's the closest thing to it? And that's when we look at these water companies, these bottled waters. And in doing my research, I found 3 companies that I would recommend to anybody and everyone when it comes to finding the best water to drink. First thing is, we need to come to the conclusion that the best bottled water is in glass, and that it should not be in plastic, for obvious reasons. We should be drinking our water out of glass as much as possible if we can, if we're not going to be getting it out of the ground pretty much, or straight from the spring. But basically, the 3 companies that I found that are the closest to this geothermal water, and one of them actually promotes itself as geothermal water, and that is Castle Rock Water Company, Starkey Water, and Volcanic Water. And you should be able to find 2 of them at your health food store, especially if you're out here in California. One of them is only going to be found at Whole Foods, and that's the Starkey. That's the Starkey water. So the volcanic water, I believe it comes from somewhere in Oregon, but basically they claim their pH to be 7.2, naturally occurring. It's not altered, bottled in glass, and their report, if I'm not mistaken, has no fluoride as well. This is another thing that a lot of people are not talking about, is the fluoride that's in their water, especially some of the Dr. Sebi supporters that I see talking about water. They never mention fluoride, and we are not supposed to have any fluoride in our water, in our tap water, in any source that we drink. It's pretty much poison. All right, so again, this is volcanic water. They bottled in glass. You can Google it. I'll put the website in the description as soon as I can. The next company that we're going to talk about is Starkey Water, and you can check out their website as well. And their water actually claims to be the highest pH, which is about 9 or 9.5, I believe it is. But I looked at their water report, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe there was a little bit of fluoride coming up. So I want to call them and ask them about that. If it's really naturally occurring like you say, and they claim that the water comes out of the earth 2 miles deep, and it's geothermal water, well then there should be no signs of fluoride. But basically the pH is naturally occurring at about 9.0, 9.5, and they bottle it in glass, which is another good thing. So I would encourage you to check them out. The third water company is it's called Castle Rock. Now this one is probably my overall favorite. If Starkey Water had no fluoride coming up on their water report, I would probably choose them as the number one. But since they do, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Castle Rock. They claim that their water is naturally occurring pH at 7.5, I believe it is, which is good if it's naturally occurring. You know, we obviously want the pH to be higher, but if it's naturally occurring at 7.5, then that's obviously a good thing. I checked out where their water is coming from, and it's coming from Mount Shasta. And Mount Shasta is in Northern California, and they're right near their mountain, their water company. And I looked up how hot the water is that comes out of the ground in Mount Shasta, and the water apparently comes out of the ground around 180 degrees Fahrenheit, so really close, if not boiling point, and that's what we like, that's what we want. So I would probably, from the research I found, I would probably pick Castle Rock over everyone. No fluoride, naturally occurring pH, and the water, the mountain that they're getting the water from is reportedly known to come out of the ground boiling hot. And that's what we like, that's what we want. These are the water companies we want to support. And then on top of that, they bottle it in glass. Now I used to drink Mountain Valley spring water, and I would probably still encourage them as well, but I'm trying to focus on these springs that have geothermal waters. We want that boiling water, and I think these three have come the closest. And I guess you can throw Mountain Valley spring water in there as well, but this is what we should be looking at, is high natural occurring pH, higher than 7.0, got to be natural occurring, and that's one thing that we have to recognize. Your water, just because it has a high pH, does not mean that it's good for you. It has to be naturally occurring high pH. If it's not naturally occurring, then pretty much it's irrelevant. It's not good for you. They've used a chemical agent to alter that water. Basically, Dr. Sebi talks about our water needing to be natural from the ground, just like our food. So therefore, we should not need any type of filter. We should not need any type of water machine, anything whatsoever. Our water is supposed to be pure and from the ground as is. You know, nature doesn't need a filter. So I see people promoting these other water bottles, and they have a high pH, 10.0, 11.0, 9.0. They brag about the way that they filter their water, but we don't want that. We want to make sure that when we're doing our research and we're looking for the right water bottles, the right water to drink, that one, we're making sure that they're bottling it in glass, and that two, we're making sure that it's coming straight from the source. And the only way you're going to get better than the three water companies that I found, and please put your comments if you know of a better one, the only water you're going to find that's better than these three is if you're going to an actual spring yourself. There is a spring in or artesian well in Carlsbad, California, Southern California, near San Diego. And apparently their pH is naturally occurring, naturally high as well, but natural. They don't alter it, they don't add anything, and that's what we want. To my knowledge, as of right now, they don't bottle their water. It's not sold in stores. I think maybe if it is, it's only in a few Costco's in Southern California. And I don't think you can, their website, I don't believe you can order their water online. You know, so if you Southern California, close to San Diego, you can go there. But the three companies that I've mentioned, and four if you count Mountain Valley Spring, you can purchase theirs online, you know, wherever you live in the U.S. And so that's why I'm in That's why I'm promoting those companies, because not everyone is near a spring or in Southern California. But obviously, if you can get to a spring, you want to look for geothermal water. You want to look for the companies that are tapping into a source where the water comes out boiling hot.